All right, my friends, welcome back. J.R. Dukes at your service once again. Appreciate you joining me as always. I have a juicy bit of video for us to watch together today. Specifically, it has to do with The View, and I think you're going to find this extremely interesting. Now, yesterday on View, one of the hosts, Sarah Haines, made what can only be described as a Freudian slip. Very interesting. If you don't think they are worried about President Donald Trump becoming president once again, folks, think again, because I'm telling you, they are worried. So let's take a look at the video. One quick note I need to tell you about the video is you're going to see some kind of blurring and different things that I've done to the video, including putting at JR Dukes across it. Because of copyright issues, I have to be very careful as I don't want to have the video flagged. I think this is preferable versus having to just show a solid photo and listening to the audio only. Let me know if you like it this way or if you'd rather just have a photo. You can put it in the comments below. That way I have an idea of what you like to see in my next and upcoming videos. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video.
When a candidate makes a public appearance, they usually lay out their vision for the future and the policies they'll put in place. But then there's you-know-who.
She despises President Donald Trump so much, she cannot even bring herself to say his name. Whoopi, to quote a scene from Breaking Bad, say his name.
He held his first campaign rally since his conviction.
Oh, they just love throwing that label about the conviction and that he's a felon. Well, I got good news for you ladies of The View. Hunter Biden can now join the class of the felonious.
I think it was the 110-degree heat in Vegas that really got to him. Take a look.
I'm up here sweating like a dog. Secret Service said we have to make sure everyone's safe. I said, what about me? Oh, we never thought of it. Are the teleprompters not working, sir? Not even a little bit. Great job. And then I don't pay the company that does it, right? And then I end up with a story Trump doesn't pay. I don't pay contractors that do a job. And that's a job. We're in the boat.
Hey, one thing about President Donald Trump, he says exactly what he means. And when he says something, he does something. And that's one of the many things people like about President Donald Trump.
And you have this tremendously powerful battery, and the battery's now underwater, and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. The boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted, or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
What?
They just love to make fun of President Donald Trump. Let's be honest about it. We can all have a good laugh once in a while. It is kind of funny, but obviously they're just taking little bitty snippets from his long hour-plus long speech in the heat out there in Nevada, and they put down together, or they pull together this monologue, and it's got a little humor to it. Why not?
Okay. See, y'all always concerned that I'm smoking something. What's he?
And we know, Whoopi, we know you're smoking plenty, sweetheart.
My God. So a few days earlier, he hinted that he'd make payback a policy during a very bizarre interview with Dr. Phil. Take a look.
I know you got a thick skin.
You may or may not know this, but Dr. Phil has came out, not so much directly, but it's clear that Dr. Phil loves former President Donald Trump, and he's pulling for him to win. Now, just a quick note, Dr. Phil has started his own television show, his own television channel. It's called Merit Street. So if you haven't checked it out, you might want to go ahead and do so. And in this particular interview, Dr. Phil is basically giving Donald Trump some friendly advice about seeking retaliation. And of course, this show and a lot of the other news programs, they love to take it out of context. But let's see what they have to say.
You're not one of those people that's afflicted with the need to be loved by strangers. I get that.
I think that's true.
You're a billionaire. You got a great family. You're a very dedicated father. People may not see this in you a lot because you keep that kind of private. You have so much to do. You don't have time to get even. You only have time to get right.
Well, revenge does take time. I will say that.
It does.
And sometimes revenge can be justified, Phil. I have to be honest. You know, sometimes
I love the way Dr. Phil in this particular interview is essentially using a little bit of psychology to finesse former President Donald Trump into saying, hey, you have a right to be outraged, but you need to do what's best for our country. And I like that about Dr. Phil. Good for you, Dr. Phil.
as it can.
But is the country better or worse for them going after you?
I think the country is really worse for what they've done.
I don't know what is going on. I don't know.
Okay, so the first part, I mean,
See, that's one of the many problems with the program like The View and a lot of these talking head TV shows, what I call the legacy media, is instead of trying to understand Donald Trump and his supporters, they go off on these tangents and calling them names. You're going to hear them in a minute. Call them nuts, call them every name except President Donald Trump, that I think they're all going to be doing very, very soon. What they should do is take time to get to know Donald Trump and his so-called MAGA supporters that they have tried to turn into a bad word. And of course, we know that that is not the case. We even have former Ambassador Hillary Clinton, of course, Bill Clinton's wife, saying, hey, these people are all baskets of deplorable and they need to be reprogrammed. These Dems, these woke Democrats, they will never understand in their mind that they need to understand Donald Trump and his supporters instead of just bashing them all the time. Because when they continue to do that, all they're doing is causing Donald Trump's poll numbers to rise.
that literally sounds like me after like 4 espresso martinis, like shark, water, bow. It just, this election has been a lot about mental acuity and the stamina of these two presidential candidates who are our oldest in history. And I've at times been critical of Joe Biden, but I think that if you're going to be critical of Joe Biden, you have to look at the glaring warning signs about Donald Trump. Listening to him now does not sound like him in 2016. Right. And he was not ever particularly eloquent. 2016, it's not like he was Shakespeare
really
by
nice
any
of
means.
you. That was said.
Folks, they really tell it like it's not. There is no way that Donald Trump sounds anything like President Joe Biden. It's very clear from all the videos we watch. Every time he gives a speech, you hear Joe Biden mumbling his words. He can't remember people's names or where he's at. He cannot even remember policies that he's advocated for or policies that he's against. They had that Wall Street Journal article just recently come out a few days ago, and the Dems are still reeling from that news story where 45 to 50 Democrats, supporters, people Joe Biden works with, that are coming out and saying that Joe Biden is essentially not there. And of course, that's an open secret. We all know what's going on with President Joe Biden. And folks, it's something we need to think about when we go to the voting booth.
Nicely.
But it is there. I'm recognizing and seeing a decline in him. Others who've known him have said it. And I think that that matters because, I mean, from comparing Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley to confusing the president of Turkey with the president of Hungary to confusing Obama and Biden left and right. He does this constantly. He's not where he once was. And exactly. It's the looks.
There is a huge difference between confusing names or not remembering a particular leader's name than what President Joe Biden is doing. Joe Biden, he's feeling behind himself over in France, trying to see if a seat is there. He stands up when everybody else is moving and he's just shocked, confused, not sure where to go, not sure how to get off the stage. Yesterday or 2 days ago, he's feeling for a chair behind him. It's so uncomfortable. It is just very, very painful to even watch what's going on with President Joe Biden.
I'm convinced that the stress of having lost the 2020 election, the legal, the convictions, the indictments, all just piling up, and him finally maybe being held.
All right, folks, now here is the meat of today's video. Listen carefully to what Sarah Haines says, and then watch Whoopi's reaction. Here we go.
No, I mean, this is you naked and doing stuff on the bed. This wasn't. I know.
Well, revenge and retribution is not a good message to win on. Not only among independents, but you've got big supporters of Donald Trump, like Dr. Phil, Hannity, kind of giving him an off-ramp in interviews, saying, well, you wouldn't really waste a lot of time with revenge, right? And I don't think the revenge is going to look like we think it is when he takes office. So we saw how he despised if he takes office. If Hillary Clinton.
Did you guys hear that? Sarah goes, when he takes office, and then Whoopi, she likes to pass out, and she grabs Sarah and corrects her and says, basically, if he takes office is where she's trying to say. Unbelievable. So what does this tell us? Let's check into this and see exactly what's going on. What do you think is going on? Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me. But clearly, the ladies of The View, especially Sarah Haines in her mind, has real worries as to whether or not Joe Biden is going to be able to defeat Donald Trump in the upcoming election. It's obviously crystal clear. The View has been known for their spirited debates, their lively political talk, the political rhetoric. They are known for this type of programming. Sarah Haines specifically, she is normally very measured and very careful with her words. And then she has what can only be described as a Freudian slip. Now, we all know a Freudian slip is when you say something that you didn't mean to say, but basically you said it because it's what you believe and it slips out. Freudian slip, of course, we're talking about Sigmund Freud, who was basically the father of psychology. So they've kind of named this after him. So what's going on here? Obvious. Sarah is saying to herself, Donald Trump is poised to win the upcoming election. She knows it, they know it, and it slipped out. You can imagine Whoopi Goldberg almost passing out right there on live national TV. It is absolutely hilarious. Do you agree, disagree? Put in the comments below and let me know what you think. Is there a different way to look at this? I am curious as to exactly what your thoughts are. We have to stop indoctrination. If you have a family member, a friend, anyone that you know that is suffering from indoctrination, they're not getting the real message of what's going on in our world, please go ahead and share this video with your family, with your friends, with whomever. We can stop indoctrination. It is no joke that coming this November is probably one of the most consequential presidential elections in our lifetime. This is a huge election, and there is a lot at stake in this particular election. We all have to do our part, get out, talk, communicate, inform ourselves, keep our minds free, as I like to always say, and make sure that we're down there to vote. Always appreciate taking time to be with me and hear what I have to say. It is truly a pleasure to be able to have a conversation with each and every one of you. I always say, keep that mind free, never give up. And until next time, my friends, I am J.R. Dukes.